stacking wins, I'm never done. On the field, I'm number one. Pressure heavy, weigh a ton. Yeah.
Welcome to the Man Utd stream. Hope you're doing well. It's Wednesday morning and we are still feeling the effects of the weekend. Oh, not the weekend, Monday night. Monday night football. It feels like it was just an hour ago. It's still raw. It's still sore. I'm still upset. I can't get over it, guys. I'm pretty good at getting over a loss. Let's be honest, we've got used to it as Man United fans. We've got used to losing and trying to get over it and looking forward to it. But this feels different. It feels like it's an open wound that you can't really heal. It's so difficult. But of course, in today's show, I'm going to be discussing how we've been deceived, how we've been lied to by these United players and the management and the owners, guys. This is not on. And I've had enough. I've had enough. Officially, I've had enough of being lied to. Either just tell us that you're not going to improve and we've got years of this football to combat and watch and torture us, or tell us that you are looking to improve and you are going to improve and you're going to do the talking on the pitch. We're sick and tired of listening to your press conferences post-match and pre-match and all that rubbish about how you feel good and how you feel like we finally will turn a corner and how we're going to go and do better next time and the next game and the next game, and then they suck in all the fans as well, and the fans start then talking about the next game. Come on, United, next game and next game. But how many times are we going to do this to ourselves? How many times are we going to get hit in the face and then react like we've never been hit? That's my problem. So in today's show, we're going to be discussing that. We're going to be discussing where do we go from here as well. Let's be honest, we need a solution. But what is the solution? I'm not hearing solutions to the problem. All I'm hearing is people pointing out what the problem is. But we need a solution, guys. We need to sit down and we need to work out how do we get out of this shithole, because we are in a deep one. We're in a deep one, and it just seems like we take one step forwards and then 3 steps backwards. And that's exactly what on Monday night it felt like. It felt like we have just lost all the credit in the bank that we built up from the 5 non-losses, right? The non-losses starting from Liverpool. But let's just go through it one by one. But anyway, morning, Sanas. Hope you're doing well. I think it was yourself who was very pragmatic, and you called it. You called it out immediately. As soon as we kicked off the game, you said United are not lined up properly, and the squad's not good. He played the same squad. I can't remember what game you said it was against, and we got beat. And you called it, and I remember I watching the stream, doing the stream, and I was like, "Nah, you can't be right. Come on, let's be positive. You know, no way are United going to go back into that form when we've seen them play so well, or arguably half decent in the last 4 or 5 games. Why would United go and backtrack all of a sudden?" And you called it. You did say that they are going to go back to what they were like before. And I was like, no way, how can that happen? How can that happen? How can United suddenly, from playing really good football, go back to the scary football that they play, where you do not know what's going to happen next? And every time a team attacks them, it looks like they're going to score. Sana says, to be honest, if you can remember, in your last week's programme, I said Manchester United only have 11 players, others nowhere to be found. Do you know what? I'm even doubting now that they've even got the 11 players. I don't even feel like United have got good enough players to even be playing week in, week out. I'm being honest. And I know it's not the most popular opinion to have. The most popular opinion for United fans is, oh, do you know what? Let's just see it through and things will get better. Things will get better. Don't worry about it. This is a blip. Yes, the players didn't turn up and the manager didn't do what he should have done. But let's look at the positive side. How can we how can we ignore a burning house? How can we say, oh, right, okay, do you know what? Let's just sit in the house. It's burning down, but let's just stay in it. It's got nice wallpaper. It's got a nice TV in the house, but it's burning down. But look, let's look at the positives. In the burning down house, the house is literally burning down. Everything's caving in, and no one's making the right decision. We've got the likes of Ruben Amorim with a petrol canister throwing some more fuel on the fire. You got players there who are just walking around looking at the fire. They've got fire extinguishers, but they're not putting the fire out. They're just walking around thinking, yeah, okay, yeah, cool, yeah. That's what I feel like they're doing. I feel like the fans are just sat there looking at the rescuers, who are the Man United players and the management and the board and whatever, and we're hoping that they'll get us out of this shit. But they've got no clue. They've got no idea how to get us out of this mess. It is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous if we think that we can rely on this manager and these set of players. Either we need to tell them what is needed, because I'm telling you, on the chat, on the stream, I was having a more intelligent conversation with the fans than what was going on the pitch and what Ruben Amorim was doing. We called it well before. Sanas, you called it obviously before the start of the game. Then there was everyone during the game. I called it within the first 5 minutes of the game, and I said, something's not right, guys. Something is not right. We're not playing well. We're not, and I've always said it, in the first 5 to 10 minutes, I already get the feeling. I know what exactly United are going to play like and how they've set up for the day, how they've come out and what their mentality is for the rest of the game. And immediately in the first 5 to 10 minutes, I knew, oh shit, we're in trouble. We're in trouble, because this team looks half asleep. They look half dead. They look like the Walking Dead. They've just literally come out of the dressing room and they're just going to walk like they've done in past games. You see, we've got so much experience of these teams before. We've seen what they're like. We've seen what United do in past games. If this was just a one-off where we've seen United play and we've never seen them do this before, you could argue that, yeah, you could overlook it. You could overlook it and still expect United to turn a corner and still play well later on in the game. But we all know, as United fans, we've seen United do this time and time again over the last decade, where they turn up and immediately in the first 5 to 10 minutes, you can tell immediately how the game's going to play out. You know exactly what United are going to do. And they did exactly that in the game against Everton. In the first 5 to 10 minutes, they were second to all the balls, second ball, anything that was dropping, they weren't going to it. No tackles made, no aggression, zero composure on the ball. So as soon as they were getting the ball, that's right from the back all the way to the forward players. Everyone who was getting the ball, they were just panicking, passing the ball into thin air. They weren't even looking where they were passing, and they were just like, yeah, okay, look, do you know what? It's either it's going to get there or not, but we don't care. Let's just quickly get the ball away from ourselves. Not sure why, but they were panicking in the first 5 to 10 minutes. But you could argue that was because Everton were in their face. Everton were closing down. They were just not allowing United to play out from the back or play out from wherever. They were just simply in their faces, aggressive, trying to get that ball back, and they did a fantastic job. And in the first 10 minutes until the sending off, Everton looked like they were going to score. I kept saying, I was like, whoa, Everton looked like they're going to score. Everton looked like the team that's on top. And then came that sending off. It was a godsend. It was a message saying, there you go, I've thrown a crumb to you, now you do the rest. You do the rest. You take advantage. That's where you need your manager, and this is where I'm highly critical of Ruben Amorim, and I'm a Ruben Amorim guy. I like Ruben Amorim. up until Monday night, where I thought, right, okay, this is it. I've criticised him before, but I'm the type of person who's going to call it like it is. I'm not there to pussyfoot around and say, oh, just because I like Ruben Amorim, I'm not going to call him out for what he's doing wrong. No, that's just stupid. That's just stupid because you're hedging your bets on somebody who's screwing up the club. So for me, if I see that Ruben Amorim does something positive, I give him thumbs up. I'm like, brilliant, good. That's what you need to be doing. But if he does something wrong, I'm going to be the first one to call it out. I'm not going to still be biased towards him and say, oh shit, I like this guy. I've publicly backed this guy so many times. So I'm not going to do it because my fans or the subscribers or everyone watching is going to say, look at you. You're just going back on your word. You're the one who said Ruben Amorim's good. But I'm fearless enough to sit here in front of fans and say, well, no, look, Ruben Amorim made the wrong decisions, and you've got to start questioning his ability when it comes to reacting to games in real time. In real time. We all were watching it. We all saw Idris Gueye make that crazy blunder in slapping Keane, and he got sent off. But it was a gift for United to take with both hands. And it was almost like Ruben Amorim and the players said, oh shit, they've gone down to 10 men. We feel sorry for him. So I tell you what, let's give him a goal and let's take it easy on them. Let's not go and attack them. Let's sit back and allow them to play whatever game they want to play. And that's exactly what we did for the entirety of the game. And we were lied to by Ruben Amorim and by the players because they keep telling us this bullshit story about how they're improving and how they feel like things are getting better. We've heard this from Ruben Amorim and we've heard it from the players. Like, oh yeah, we're improving, we're getting better. And even Ruben Amorim's there saying, oh yeah, do you know what? The players are improving and the team's getting better and we're going in the right direction. And then we get the bandwagon of biased commentators and fan channels, whatever you want to call it, who are clearly in bed with United and they don't want to upset anybody. And they're like, yeah, United are doing really well, and United. But we've got it even right now after this loss, there's still people out there saying United are still on track. United are still doing good. And I'm thinking, you need to wake up. You need to wake up. We couldn't beat a 10-man Everton. What signal does that send to the rest of the league? That tells the rest of the league we're easy to play against. And there's the likes of all these other managers, Guardiola, Silva, all these managers who've played against United already this season. They've come out and said it, that United are pretty easy to play against because there's only one way. Well, there's one simple or obvious way to beat United, and that is you just overload the midfield. You just get the players and you just throw them in the midfield, and boom, you win the game because United have got two shit players in the midfield. I'm going to say it like it is. They're shit. Casemiro is not good enough. Yes, we're kind of waxing lyrical about him, saying, oh, he's brilliant and he's doing this, but he's not good enough. A player who can't play 90 minutes. What is that all about? A professional player playing in the Premier League. We're paying him his salary. We're not saying, okay, do you know what? Just because you can't complete the entire match, we're gonna cut your salary. We're not doing that, are we? We're saying, right, okay, 60 minutes this guy gives us, and that's it. He's off. And then we've got Bruno Fernandes, who's essentially missing. He's missing in action. He's missing in action. He's a guy who's shouldn't be really in that position, and partly that's Ruben Amorim's fault, clearly, and yeah, it's 100% Ruben Amorim's fault. I mean, he's the one who's playing him there. Welcome, Nish. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for hitting that like button. Sanis and everybody else who's in their house, make sure you hit the like, please. It sends the stream out to lots of other United fans, and we can have a proper chat about how we have been misled by this United team and the manager. We have been misled, whether you like it or not. We have been misled because every time they tell us we're improving, we're getting better, and boom, they drop this kind of performance on us, and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing because you build up a little bit of confidence as a United fan. You start talking to other fans. You finally start going onto them group chats that you've been avoiding for months and months. then you start chatting and you start giving it large ones to Liverpool fans saying, look at you, you flipping losers who lost 3-0 against Forest. We drew against them away from home and things like that. And then you're giving gyp to Man City fans. And, we all have fans who, friends who support other teams, right? So when you're giving them this grief and you're expecting United to win against Everton, and everyone, including me, and I'm pretty pessimistic, even including me, I was like, this should be a straightforward win. Yes, we're going to make it hard work, but we will get the win. We'll get the win against an Everton team that haven't been performing well. They've not been winning games. So we should have enough in the bank to go and do the job on them. But nobody knew what was coming. No fan could have predicted that apart from one or two. I think, like I said, Thanos did, which is, these guys didn't turn up. It's like someone just turned off the switch on them. It's like, today is a day where we'll turn off the switch and they can all go out and have a rest day. They can all go out and do nothing. Do absolutely jack shit on the pitch for us. And I'm going to look, I was actually looking at some stats this morning about Zertsky. Now, I'm not singling out Zertsky, by the way. I'm not singling out one player. Every single player on that pitch, including Tenny Lemons, even the goalkeeper, I'm throwing into the same category. They were all shit. They were all awful. And the number one reason why they were is because nobody saw, do you know what? I'm going to take things in my own hand here. Yes, we know what Ruben Amorim wants to play. We know he wants to play the three at the back and he just doesn't want things to change and he wants the team to keep his shape. But sometimes you've got to disobey orders. When you know something is wrong, and if you're a professional footballer and you played and you watch the game and you are there playing the game in real time and you can see what's going on, you, at times, need to ignore the instructions of the manager. You need to ignore what he's saying. And I'm not talking... I was saying it in the stream last night when we were doing the watch-along to Chelsea game. And they played against 10 men, by the way. But anyway, we'll come to that later on. But I was saying in the stream that I was watching an interview with David Beckham, and David Beckham said something of that sort. Well, look, I went against the instructions of Fergie at times in games, and he would get pissed off. He wouldn't like it, but I would go against it and just go out of position and score or do something else. And this is what we needed. We needed players with balls. We needed players to just take things into their own hands. And we didn't get any players step up. No leaders on the pitch. That is the biggest problem. Awful. Anyway, guys, Niche says it's okay. It's Sanos actually. My fear now is that Mbumo Ahmad go to Africa Cup of Nations. Who is going to step in for these guys? I've been saying it for weeks. We've got issues. Without, who is going to step in? Who's gonna do a job for us now? I can't see anybody doing the job. Can't see anybody. Hold on, guys. Let me see what is going on here. Getting some messages through. Guys, make sure you hit the like. Make sure you hit the subscribe as well if you're not already a subscriber. I'm only seeing 2 likes here, by the way, and there's more people tuned in than 2. So please make sure you hit the like and the subscribe. And then we will hopefully get to grips with everything else. Anyway, now, thank you for this. Thank you for the likes, guys. It just kind of gives me some more traction, shall we say, on the stream. And I kind of waited to go live later on because I thought it's going to give me time to kind of let everyone wake up and kind of hit the stream. But anyway, I'm going to come to the chat now because I want to get everyone else involved because I don't want to just do all the talking and let you know my thoughts. I have let you know my thoughts, obviously, but I also want to hear from you people out there watching, and I want to know your opinions because this is from one perspective. You might have a completely different perspective, and I want to hear because ideally, I want someone to flip in, tell me something different. I'll be honest with you. I want someone to tell me something different, so I can have something to look forward to. Because right now, I'm like a deer facing the headlights. I don't know what the hell's going on. I believe I've got some answers. I believe what I know what I can see, and I think what is wrong. But then I also think, shit, am I the only one seeing this, or are other fans watching the same thing? I know on the stream on the day we all agreed that what was going wrong on the team and what needed changing. And them changes did eventually come, where Ahmad was moved back to the right wing back position, Mount was brought on, but then some changes didn't happen. We all agreed that Zertsky was way off the pace. He was not on the pace, but he stayed on there. He stayed on there. Anyway, let me come back to Niche. Niche, welcome. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. Niche says it's all spin for Ineos. So Jim says it's a 3-year project. Todd Bowley has turned Chelsea into world beaters in just over a year. Yeah, it's bullshit. That's complete and utter lies. When someone comes in and says, "Oh, it's going to take 2 years or 3 years to sort this out, or 4 years," that's an absolute lie. You can sort it out immediately, or you can choose to sort it out over 4 or 5 years. And Ineos and the Glazers are choosing to sort things out over 4 or 5 years. Why do you think they're doing that? It's because financially, they don't really want to put the money where the mouth is. They don't want to have the pressure of having to go out there and replace the squad, go out there and buy some decent players, and go out there and sort out the facilities. That is the biggest problem. That's the biggest problem they have. And that's why they talk bullshit. They talk shit. They kind of blatantly lie to us on our faces. And what we've got with Jim Ratcliffe, he's an old fella who comes across quite credible and does all his talking and, it's going to take 3 years and I believe in Ruben. It's a long-term project. It's a long-term... F you, mate. Long-term project. You've got one foot in the grave and you're telling us that we should sit around and wait. We should sit around and wait after we've seen the demise of our great club, our amazing club that was winning everything. We challenged for everything. It was like literally, it was almost like, it's a given that we'd qualify for the Champions League, that we'll go into the latter stages of the Champions League. We'll be fighting for the Premier League. We'll, of course, be fighting for the FA Cup and everything. Every trophy that there was, we would be competing for it. Before the bloody Glazers joined us. And it was like, all right, okay, let's lower the standards a little bit. Let's lower them a little bit more. And let's lower them a little bit more. And now we've lowered them to such a degree that we, as Man United fans, have to accept this shit against 10 men Everton and accept that teams like that can come to United and turn us over. And we should just sit here and not say a peep. We should sit here and not criticise anybody. We should sit here and look forward to the next game against Crystal Palace and say, oh, well, look, football is, it's a game which we can overcome next game and it'll be fine and we'll be back. What a load of tosh. What a load of bullshit, man. That is just not on. And I can't accept anyone sat here. I can't accept anyone turning around and saying to me, it's a long-term project. It's not a long-term project. And just like Nish said, you've got owners who are coming in, and we've seen it. If we didn't have the Todd Bowley, and the others around us that have come in, owners that have come in and sorted out their clubs, then you could argue, maybe it does take 3, 4, 5 years, right? But we've seen other clubs improve overnight. They've made the right decisions. They've come in, they've put some investment down, and they've sorted their club out. Why haven't we been able to do that? Why are we being projected on to 3, 4 years to sort things out? Why is our manager the only manager who's getting a blank slate for 3 years? So what Jim Ratcliffe has said is, oh, yes, I'm going to give him 3 years. And so he can screw up for the entire 3 years. And then after that, I'm going to judge whether he stays or goes. In which job, in which industry would you be given 3 years to screw things up? And then will they decide whether they want to sack you or keep you? Absolutely heads gone. He needs to be measured on a daily basis, weekly basis, whatever you want to say, right? We're across the road. We've got fans, Liverpool fans, having an absolute meltdown and saying that Slot needs to go when he won the league last year. That's the standards. That's the different standards. And why should we be any different? We should be, of course, we haven't got the players, and that's another whole discussion we're going to have later on in today's show. But let's go back to the chat and we'll see what else is being said. Nish says, our football is so boring, I might become a Morecambe Shrimps fan. At least the players try and the manager is dynamic. Yeah, I mean, I was watching Chelsea yesterday and I think you were there, Nish, and I was like, shit, man, Chelsea are destroying Barca here. They're destroying Barca. And them are the little games that make a difference to fans, where you can watch them and say, look, we can see something happening. We can see something positive. The problem is with United, you remind me when we've had a game where we've absolutely demolished a team and looked like a sensational team. I can't think back to when. I can't, seriously. Our football is, so Nietzsche says, Sanu is okay. Ruben has said the academy players are stepping up to fill in for Mbumo and Ahmad during the OFCON. But he's not said that they're going to actually start. So what he said was, in his press conference, what he's gone and said, Ruben Amorim, is the players will come in from the academy, but just to make up the spaces on the subs bench, just in case someone gets injured from the first team. So I think what his plan is that he's going to play the players, the senior players anyway. He's not really going to give a start to, I can't see him giving a start to any academy player, although that would be nice to see, because let's be honest, the current players we've got are completely out of their depth. I mean, I would like to see everyone gone, apart from a few faces like Mbumo, Ahmad, Kuna, Mazraoui, Delete, Sandy Lemons. There you go. That's them are the players I'd keep. The rest I'm not sure about. And I would happily sell the likes of Bruno Fernandes. I know that's a controversial comment, because I know lots of people like him, and that's not because he's not a good player. I think he's a very good player. I just don't feel like, number one, he's captain material. He's not captain material. He's not the kind of guy who leads by example, and he's not the type of guy to do anything that will show and inspire the rest of the team. He's the first one to throw his dummy out of the pram. He's the first one you see under pressure. He has a complete meltdown. The first one. So if your captain is doing that, what do you think the young players around him would be thinking? What do you think that does to you as a player? It's not good. You need your entire team to be on the same wavelength. And if you've got your bloody captain having a hissy fit about one thing or another thing and not being passed right or this and that, he has a complete fit when someone can't pass him the ball. But the funny thing is, he's the one who makes all these ridiculous passes that never come off. But anyway, coming back to the chat, we've got NSP, welcome to the channel. NSP, Ineos played a brilliant game, brought in Manipulator as a manager. They know we are hopeless United lovers, and we are basically listening to everything they say. 100%, man. That is facts. That is facts. They've brought in somebody who's even fooled me, and I would say I'm pretty good at working out who's talking shit to me, right? But even I, for a long time, and even right now, if you ask me, I still say, wow, Ruben Amorim's really well spoken. He's really good at speaking, man. He's brilliant at these press conferences. He comes out and he kind of says the right things, does the right things. And he says what you want to hear. He tells us what we want to hear as fans, and he comes out with the same line about I feel really bad for the fans, and thank you for your support, and thank you for coming out and backing me, and I'm thinking, shit, he's just gaslighting us. He's gaslighting us. He is taking the piss out of us, guys. And I feel like I've been lied to personally. I feel like I'm sat here and I'm thinking, Ruben, I've been backing you up, mate. I've been in your corner, backing you up against everybody. But you can't ignore the fact what he did against Everton on Monday night was schoolboy. It was a schoolboy error. And what was that error? Everyone knows what it is. He failed to instruct his players to go to like one centre-back or two centre-back and get everybody else up in that penalty area. Everyone knew. As fans, we knew. We were watching what everyone could see. Everton were going to defend and see out that goal. They knew, right, okay, we're just going to go into a block of 2-4s and they're going to have to break us down. And United didn't have any clue what to do. And then there was Zirkzee. Now, I was talking about Zirkzee. Zirkzee's average position, believe it or not, I saw some stats, yeah, because I was like, okay, and I'm not blaming Zirkzee here, because let's be honest, Zirkzee hasn't seen much game time. He was thrown into this game. I think Ruben Amorim thought it was going to be an easy game. Let's just play Zirkzee. He'll do half a decent job, and he should be able to get a goal, or maybe help the team get a goal or two, and we should win. That didn't happen, even when we had 10 men, we were playing against 10 men. But Zirkzee's average position was, in fact, further back than even Casemiro on the pitch. Can you believe that? So we had a striker whose average position was even further back than Casemiro throughout the whole game. I had to read it twice. I had to look at it again, and I was like, no, that can't be right. That can't be right. How's Zirkzee, how's his average position behind Casemiro? But this is it. Zirkzee has never been an out-and-out striker. And I think I said it in my show day before, or I think on the day of the stream, and I was saying, oh, Zirkzee's problem is that he's not someone who likes playing up front. He doesn't want to play up front. And Ruben Amorim would I think, play him more often if he played that role. But Zirkzee is someone who likes coming right back, picking up the ball and getting involved in the build-up play. But no one wants him to do that. We want an out-and-out striker. We need someone to be keeping the centre-backs occupied. Keane and the other centre-back, I can't remember, had the best game of their season so far. Not because they had to work hard. It's because they didn't have to do anything. They had no one to mark. They had no one, literally no one to mark. I mean, Zirkzee was nowhere near them. Neither was Mbeumo, neither was Ahmad. Nobody was there. The only person who caused them a bit of difficulty near the end was Mason Mount, because he got in between both of them. But nobody else dared do that. And that is why I look at Ruben Amorim and think, you should have instructed your team to change. At halftime, you had the perfect opportunity to get into them and say, what the F are you all doing? We're playing against 10 men. We're at home. We should be destroying this team. How, number one, did you let a flipping goal go in? But that is obvious how that goal went in, because who was it? It was Dewsbury Hall who scored. Dewsbury Hall scored. But if you look back at the play, you can see Casemiro and both Bruno Fernandes just jogging back, and Bruno Fernandes, in fact, does get near to him, but you can't make the tackle. Why? Because he's not a defensive player. So if we had anyone else in that position who's an out-and-out, a defensive midfield player, he would have made that tackle. That shot would never have gone off, and it wouldn't have been a goal. But these are the small differences that you have if you're playing with the likes of Anderson or Wharton or even Baleba. Even someone like that would be able to stop that shot even going off, because they would have got back in time and tackled Dewsbury Hall before he took that shot. That's a difference. Your centre mids are the ones who protect the defence. But we haven't got anybody. Casemiro is simply not good enough. Yes, he does his job in the midfield to some degree, but not to the degree that we need in the Premier League. Absolutely awful. Jim, welcome to the show. Hope you're doing well. Hope you've recovered from the watch along and the stream on Monday night. I don't know what I've not recovered. And I don't expect many of you guys to have recovered either. But you know what? We've got to get through this together. That's all. We've got to go through this together. The more we talk about it and get things off our chest, the more better we feel. That's what I feel like anyway. I feel like I need to vent. I feel like you guys need to vent. So I want everyone to get on the chat. Even if you've not ever commented before on any stream, you're welcome to join us. Drop your comments and chat. Let us know what you think. You might disagree with everything I'm saying, and that's fine as well. I want to hear from someone who comes out and backs him. backs Ruben Amorim or the players. I want to see some positivity. I swear I've been searching since Monday night. I've been sat there thinking, how do I put a positive spin on this? How do I look at this in a positive way? And I've not been able to. And then it comes to the fact that, do you end up lying to yourself? Do I lie to myself about what's going on at United? Do I say, oh, it's we're still playing good and we're still a very good team? Or do I face facts and say it like it is, that we are in deep trouble, we need to sort things out? And I think the quicker we accept that, the quicker we can move on to sorting it out, and the more pressure we can apply on the likes of Ineos and the management to get things sorted. The more we get gaslighted, the more we accept this standard of football, the more Ineos and everybody else around United and the players will get away with it. The more they will try and get away with. If they're here, oh, actually, last week we lost against 10 men and we got booed off the pitch, but wait, the fans are back on our side right now and they've forgotten everything about last week. Then they're more likely to do it again. They're more likely to down their tools again. Same thing with Ruben Amorim. He's probably thinking, wait, these fans are flipping stupid. Because anywhere else, I wouldn't see the next day. You know, but these guys are backing me again and again, despite me telling them that, look, yeah, the team's shit. The team is shit. He himself said this is probably the worst team in Man United's history. But we've all forgotten about that, and we're still playing with the same team. Nothing has changed apart from 2 or 3 new faces, and everything else is the same. Yet we expect these players to suddenly become prime players, prime centre-backs and prime wing-backs and prime midfielders. They're not going to change. They're not going to change. We've got to accept that. The quicker we do, the better it is for us, I think. The better it is for our sanity. Niche says, if only the Saudis hadn't bought Newcastle, they could have bought us, and we have the new stadium, debt cleared, and a couple of Prems and UCL by now. Look, I would have accepted any owner, even Todd Bowley, you mentioned him. I would have accepted him. I would have accepted anybody who's willing to come in and put some money down. We've never had that since the Glazers took over. We've not had anybody who's willing to put money into the club, which is crazy, isn't it? That you've got such a jewel in the crown of football, world football, Man United, yet we've got complete and utter leeches, parasites that are involved in the ownership of the club. And nobody has been able to protect the jewel in the crown, Man United. Nobody. The fans couldn't. And to be honest with you, it was the writing was already on the wall. It's a bit like, do you know these multi-millionaires, billionaires, you know, they live in their own world, and we're the common folk who go and support United. We're the ones who are really affected by it. The Glazers don't even support United, let's be honest. They don't really give a shit whether United win or lose, whatever they're doing. All they care about is the financial revenue, hence why they even wanted to take us into that super bloody league, because all they want is to make more money, and they sat there thinking, how do we make more money out of this club? Yeah, they don't care about anything else but money. And same thing with with Ineos. What did Niche say? It was is it what was it, Niche? Let me know. I forgot your term. Glazinos or something. Or it was too good. It was too good. But look, in Ineos, we've got the same people. Jim Ratcliffe is exactly like the Glazers. He's not willing to put any money down. He's not putting enough money down to sort the club out. It's like coming to a sale and someone saying, right, you know, United, you have to put in this much money as an investment. You got to put in £500, and we bring £2 to the whole thing, and say, here's £2, and I'll bring the rest of the £498 later on. That's essentially what Ineos is doing. So that he's putting a bit of money. Yeah, he's putting 100-200 mil, and then he's thinking of investing more, and it's nothing. It's loose pocket change for even Ineos. But anyway, coming back to the chat, Jim says he 100% agrees. Yeah, Jim. Look, you know me, Jim. I'm a positive chap. I'm someone who looks at the bright side of things. But even I have to call things out. And the reason why I'm doing it is because it's imperative that we as fans call it out like we see it. It's a duty on us because we're the only last protectors of the club. If we stop talking and if we stop saying what's going wrong at the club, then there's nothing that's going to stop these idiots who own the club to completely run wild at United. And we've seen over the last 10 years, they don't give a shit about the legacy. They don't care that we've suddenly dropped off our perch and we're struggling to get back up on our feet anymore. We're on our knees and they're happy for us to, because they don't care, because the fans are still paying to watch United. They're still getting the record revenues. Year on year, United still keep on making money because they've got a loyal fan base. That's the difference. But how long will that last? That's what I'm asking. How long will we be still, our generation who saw the likes of, Giggs and Beckham and things like that, what's going to happen? Once we're not there, what's going to happen? Who's going to be supporting United then? They're going to, of course, not be the same club. No kid right now in their right mind will grow up and say, right, I want to support United. I want to support United because they've got what? They've got Zertsky. You know what I mean? Just come on. It does not make any sense. They're going to go and support teams that have got exciting football and they're watching exciting football. They're watching top goals being scored, not watching a team that can't even score against 10 men. Just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. NSP says Lacey's chances of getting game time were as much as mine. Amrin is just getting brownie points for gullible fans for putting him on the bench and giving Manu some minutes. Yeah, look, he's playing us. He's playing us, man. I've been, like I said, NSP, I've been backing the manager. I still... If he's, do you know what? If he still does something and like changing his tactics or formation and starts saying, look, I'm going to improve and I'm going to change things because I feel like I'm not doing good, I'll back him. I'll back him. But the reality is he's not for changing. He's not for changing. And look, let's be honest. He's not brought any youngster into this team. He's talking about, he's talking up Lacey. He's talking about Manu still being part of United and academy players coming in. But I'm telling you, he has no interest whatsoever in playing any academy players. Unless he's forced to. Unless he's forced to, he does not want them to be playing. Because he currently doesn't believe in them. He currently doesn't believe in them. That's what I'm seeing anyway. I'm seeing a manager who keeps going back to his normal players, Dalot coming on instead of Dogu. Why? If you were going to take Dogu off, why didn't you just put someone else on? Someone who could possibly get you a goal. Why would you go and replace someone with a lesser player when we're the ones who have got the numerical advantage? It did not make sense to me. I mean, now I've gone back and thought about it even more and I've thought that was just a horrendous decision making. Jim says Dalot, Bruno and Casemiro have to go. Bruno spits his dummy out every match without fail. Yeah, Jim, we see it. We see he's the captain. He's the captain and he's throwing his dummy out. What does that feel like? I mean, imagine it when you've played football, any of you guys who've played football, if you got a teammate who's absolutely having a hissy fit every time something goes wrong and he starts having a go at not just the ref but even his own teammates, what do you think that does to the team? You get pissed off. You don't like it. You don't like a teammate like that. You want a teammate who's encouraging you. Even if you screw up a pass, he's clapping. He's saying, don't worry, guys. Come on, let's, chin up. Let's go again. Goal goes in, not a problem. We're going to go and get an equaliser. That's what he should be like. But he's not anywhere near like that for United. He might be slightly better with Portugal, but with United, he is like a baby. He's a baby who just literally cries at everything. And I think the best example is when you go back to what he did against Brentford when he got touched by the ref just before he took the pen and he threw his dummy out. Oh, I missed a penalty because the ref nudged me. He kind of he went into my shoulder and he hurt me and I couldn't score a penalty because I'm not a professional football player and I don't get paid hundreds and thousands of pounds a week just to kick one flipping ball into the back of the net. Head's gone, isn't it? This is our flipping captain. If this guy's an emotional wreck, What else do we need? What else? Why are we even looking anywhere else? So, Jim, I agree with you. Look, I think this guy. You're correct, Jim. He needs to go. He needs to go, man. He needs to go because I feel like we keep looking back at Bruno Fernandes, and he does get one or two of those, exceptional goals from out of the area, or he makes an assist, and we're like, wow, Bruno Fernandes is brilliant. Yeah, he's a world-class player. But is that enough? For our number one player, arguably our number one player, on paper, captain, number one player, you look at the team and say he's out and out superstar, shall we say, whatever. Does he give United enough? I don't think he does. If I got an offer in the region of 80 plus mil for Bruno Fernandes, I would snap the hand off whoever's offering that and just run with it. I would run with it because I don't think, number one, he's suited to the Premier League. I don't think he's good enough for the Premier League. I know it sounds controversial, but for me, if we're going to carry on playing Bruno Fernandes in that current position of a CM, I don't think he's good enough. Maybe if we move him up, maybe I'd change my opinion. Maybe I'd say, yeah, actually, he's better playing forward. But in that position where Ruben Amorim's insisting on playing him, no way is he the right type of player for United. If you look back, I was saying to Nish, if you look back at, in yesterday's stream against Chelsea, we were talking and I was saying, look, if you look back at the great United teams, or great Premier League teams, you don't have to look at United, look at Chelsea's top teams, look at Arsenal's championship winning teams, look at City, and what do you see in their midfield? You see big 6 foot tall top midfield players. When I'm thinking Lampard, Essien, I'm thinking Rodri. Look what happened to Man City when Rodri went off. Look at Arsenal, the Vieira and the likes of that. Look how Arsenal have now started looking like a flipping crazy team. What have they done? What's different about their midfield? Oh yeah, they just went and signed Declan Rice. That's what they did. That's what they did. Until that, they were struggling. Until Declan Rice came in, they were playing shit. They looked like a weak team, and everyone was talking about how you could just bully through Arsenal, and we are now that team. We are the ones that you can bully off the ball, and everybody in the Premier League knows that. We play, like I said in yesterday's video, we play like a bunch of pussies, man. We are just weak. We are weak. We get pushed off the ball. We are just not strong enough to just compete. Never mind go and win. We can't even compete on an equal level. Let's go back to the chats. Jim says, Nish says, Mbumo is in target to score less goals with us than he did at Brentford last season. This just ruins players now. This club ruins players. Yeah, man. Ruining players is a long, it's been happening for many years now. Many players have been coming to us and we have been seeing the worst of them. They go off somewhere else and they play brilliant. And at first I was thinking, it's just maybe just the players who are just, not good enough. They can't handle the pressure. And we've heard from many, ex-players that, the pressure at United is immense to wear the shirt and play for United. But I don't think it is. Right now, there is no pressure on the players. Right now, they're not expected to win anything. Look at our standards. All we're doing is we're literally pleading with them to get into the top 4 or 5. That's what we're doing. And we'll be satisfied as a fan base. We're like, please, just get into the top 5. Get into the top 4. And we'd be over the moon. Just get into them Champions League spots. We're not asking you to win the Premier League. We're not asking you to win anything else. Just get into those Champions League spots and we're going to be over the moon. Your fan base will be licking your feet if you get into the Champions League spots. That's our expectation. That's where we're at. And what kind of pressure is that? Why would they be feeling pressure in that kind of environment? Playing 1 game a week. Why is there pressure? What pressure? I don't see no pressure. No pressure whatsoever. It's absolute bull. Everything that they make up is an absolute bull. They're not under pressure. They've got it easy. And yeah, when players like Mbumo come, what they see is the likes of Bruno Fernandes, the likes of Casemiro and the others who are just taking it easy. Yeah, they're just like, yeah, we lost. It's fine. At the end of the game, it was really, really telling that everybody was sulking on the team, bar Mbumo. Mbumo was the only one who kind of kept his head up and walked off the pitch. And that tells you something, because he was the only one that could hold his head up and say, yeah, I played a good game. I played a good game. But after a while, I think what happens is that when these new players turn up, they give it their all. We've seen it with all these players that have turned up. They give it their all in the first half of the season. But then by the second half of the season, they get to see the likes of the senior leadership team. You know, the Maguires or Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro's and all the lot of Dallos, everyone who's been there for some time. And they see that these players don't give a shit. They're not even phased out by losing to a 10-man Everton team. And they're back to square one again. The next day they're in training and they're happy and smiling and they're like, yeah, let's go again. And so they think, all right, okay, this is fine. Losing is acceptable. Losing is not the end of the world. That's what them are the standards that have been set. Whereas I remember a time when Fergie, if United would ever lose, and that was under Fergie, it is very rare, but the times that they'd lose, you'd hear from the players that they'd say that even if they would hate the thought of going back into the changing rooms, they would want to stay out on the pitch after losing, because they knew what was coming. They knew that they didn't want to go back into that changing room after a loss. That is what you want the players to be like right now. You want them to be shitting it, thinking, we don't want to go back in that changing room. They're shitting it because they knew Fergie is going to give them the hairdryer treatment. He's not going to accept a loss. And even in the press conferences, when he'd come out and after a loss, it was no nonsense. He'd be like, it's unacceptable. There is no excuse. There is no excuse for losing as Man United. But yet we hear endless lists of excuses from Ruben Amorim about United doing this, United doing that, and oh yeah, this is why we lost. Absolute garbage, and we're being lied to. That's what it is, guys. We are being lied to. Let me go back to the chat, because there's a lot of people commenting and stuff. So Niche says, I'd love if Ruben Amorim adapts and changes his style of play. I think he's stubborn. I genuinely think he doesn't know how to play the other way. He is a one-trick pony. Amorim can't change his formation. If he does, it's an acknowledgement he was wrong. If he doesn't, he will be sacked, but can rightly blame the club for not backing him. NSP says we won't get anywhere if he doesn't change. I'm surely in the minority, but I feel bad for these players. This formation is getting the best out of them. Is not getting the best out of them. We are asking a fish to climb a tree. Playing Bruno deep is the most infuriating thing. If he played in his natural position, he would have stat padded, and maybe we would have had a few more points. I agree. We are asking mediocre players to play like world-class players in this formation, right? I've said it many times. I said it right early on in this season, and I said, Ruben Amorim, if he wants to play this formation, he needs to go out there and sign two of the world's best wing-backs. And I'm not talking half-decent wing-backs. I'm talking world-class. Nuno Mensch, Grimaldo, Balde. We're talking about these kind of world-class wing-backs who can run all day, can go forward and come back, make the forward runs and defend. We haven't got them. So he can't play this formation. He can't play this formation. And yes, for this formation, you do need two very good central midfield players. Bruno Fernandes, he can't play in that position. He can't play in that position. So you do need two top centre mids in there, and then and only then can you play this formation. So yeah, Ruben Amorim sticking to his guns is the big problem here. It is a huge problem. I think, look, anyone with half a brain could see that if we set this team up in a boring 4-4-2, right? Let's go with a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1. Can we do better? And I guarantee you we would do better. And I know what Ruben Amorim comes out with, and he says, yeah, we'll do better in the short term, but in the long run, it's not good for the club. And I'm thinking, are you flipping stupid? We need to sort things out right now. Let's do things right now in the short term. Yeah, fix something. It's like saying I've got a massive leak in the house, but I'm not going to patch it up, and I'm not going to go and turn the water off, because in the long run I'm going to have to fix everything anyway. So let's just let it leak. Let it just flood the house, because I'm gonna redecorate the whole house anyway. So let it just flood. That's essentially what Ruben Amorim's telling us. He's saying, yeah, in the long run, I'm going to change everything. I want United to play in a 3-back formation. So it doesn't matter if we can't beat Everton, 10 men of Everton. And it doesn't matter if we don't qualify for the Champions League. That's essentially what he's telling us. He's saying, yeah, I'm prepared to watch United play shit in order for the longer picture, for the long gain. And I'm thinking, you're just flipping, you're just going the wrong way about this. You're going the wrong way about this. Yes, there's been stubborn, but you've got to accept sometimes you've got to do things in the short-term gain that will benefit you as well. Why not change the formation now? You haven't got the players. You're insisting on doing something without having the players. You haven't got the right players. It's like me entering into a race, a Formula One race, and I'm turning up with a bloody Skoda or something, right? And I'm saying, oh no, I want to join in this race. And so they're telling me, look, but you need to have a better car, and I'm like, no, at least I'm taking part. At least I'm taking part in it. That's what Ruben Amorim's saying to us. He said, oh, well, at least we're here. At least we're taking part, and we're still kind of playing that through at the back. Even though we haven't got the players, we're still taking part. But we want to win. We want to win. We can't see any more of this shit football. It is absolutely demoralising to watch as a United fan. I mean, how many matches more can we take of this shit and know what's going to happen? We all know that we concede goals. We're an easy team to score against. Easy team to score against. Let me go back to the comments. He won't get anywhere if he doesn't change. I'm surely in the Man. Yeah, I read that. Playing Bruno. Yeah, is that. The NSP says players have turned on managers for less. Ours have been humiliating for a year now, but they are still playing for this manager. Jim says as long as they go, I don't care how good they play for other teams. Leadership team, that's a joke. More like retirement and shit player team. That's Jim. Yeah, there. Spot on. Nish says, honestly though, I'd love to have been a fly on the wall and heard what Amorim said to the players after the Everton. Realistically, what can you say other than you lot are completely crap? Apparently, he was pissed off. Apparently, he wasn't happy. But I mean, sometimes I think the problem with Ruben Amorim's got is because he's insisting on the players playing this formation and sticking to their positions and not really giving them the freedom to play. And this is something actually that came out yesterday after the Chelsea game, and I was watching the panel discuss it. It was like I think it was the Thierry Henry, Carragher and Mika Richards, and they were panel. Henry said something interesting, which was like, oh look, this is what you get when you get the freedom to play football. When players go out there and just said, right, just go out and play your own bloody game. I don't care what you do. Just go and play football. Yeah, and enjoy yourselves. And they've got the freedom to do whatever when they want to. They don't have to think about, oh my God, I've got to stick to this position. I can't make that run now. And I think that's why we see United struggling. And the players partly know that it's the manager's fault because he's asked us to play this formation, and in this formation we're not getting the best out of the players. So yeah, I mean, what can he say to say Bruno Fernandes, who he's playing out of position? I don't think he can have a go at him. I don't think he can have a go at the centre backs because he's told them, right, you stay in this position, you're not allowed to go forward until the very last second of the game when you saw De Ligt go up. Nish says we need Nuno Mendes, Hakimi, Baleba, Anderson to make this team work. Absolutely never going to happen. Let's sack him and move on. Nish says I completely agree. We do better with a 4-4-2. Lemons, Dogu, De Ligt, Yoro, Mazraoui, Casemiro, Mount, Ahmad, Kuna and Mbumo, and then Sesko up front. Yeah, look, any formation. I just feel like we just need the 4 at the back. I don't care. I know. Some people might say, well, it doesn't make a difference, the formation. I just feel like players like playing in a formation that they're familiar with, that they used to. And I just feel like having a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1, I think the defenders will be a lot more comfortable. I think the centre-backs will be a lot more comfortable. I think the midfielders will be a lot more comfortable. I think the whole team would flow better. And one thing we're missing, which is they all would be playing in their right positions. They all would be expected to do the jobs that they've been doing since childhood. They know exactly what to do. But under this formation, under this system that Ruben Amorim's playing, he's playing players out of position. He's playing players that are not used to playing that job. They're not used to doing that. Ahmad is not used to playing in that right wing back position. He's doing a half decent job, but is that his normal position? No. So again, I don't think Ruben Amorim can go into that dressing room after that game and start having a go at them, knowing full well he's the one who's told him exactly how to play, knowing full well he's the one who's made those substitutions. So he's got no leg to stand on. As a manager, he's the one who's selling them this way of playing, and it's not working. And Jim says Ineos should come out and say they're back Amorim or sack him before we can get before we can't get top 6. Our season has gone. Look, I think the problem we've got is Ineos have come out and said openly that he's got 3 years. He's got 3 years to do whatever. So I can see why they'd say that, because they'd obviously openly back him, and then they're hoping that he can take that confidence and that vote of confidence and go and do wonders with United. But he's clearly told United and the board, I'm not changing my ways. This is acceptable to me. What's going on right now in our losses, in my current win rate, I'm happy with. I was discussing this again last night in the stream, and we were talking about Amorim's win rate, and it's like the worst win rate in any modern Man United football manager. I think it's worst ever, in fact. How can we accept that? How can we sit here and all say, yeah, that's acceptable? And the only reason we can say that, and I'm telling you, the only reason why is because we are emotionally damaged from the other managers and what's happened in the recent history of United, to now fall to such a level that a 35% win rate we're happy with. We're happy with Ruben Amorim's win rate because, yeah, we're so used to it now. And we don't want to go back. We don't want to go back to square one again. And we're scared of doing that. So that's why I feel like most fans are still not calling it out like it should be. But I've always said I've never been a good follower. I'm always someone who will put my neck on the line and say things like it is, call things out when I see him. And this is one of those moments, unfortunately. And you see me, I've gone back and forth when it comes to Ruben Amorim. I've backed him, then I've not backed him, and then I've backed him, and then I've said, look, no, I'm going to give him another chance. I'm going to give him another chance, like everybody else is doing. But for me, I think I've reached my tipping point where I've said, right, actually, that's it. It's over. It's over. If he does not change drastically what he's doing with this team, then it's over. I can't keep watching United play this type of football. And for those people who say, no, it's a process and it takes time. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. You see lots of new managers come in, take over teams, and within a couple of games, they've got them playing in a completely different way and they've got them cooking. So why are we sat here thinking, no, Ruben Amorim is going to take at least 2 seasons to get this team cooking? Why? That's my issue. I think we need to accept that it won't change until we actually start calling it out. Or else Ruben Amorim said it clearly. After the Grimsby game, he said it. He said, look, I'm going to walk. I don't care what anyone says. For me, that was a warning to the board. He was like, look, I'm going to walk. Yeah? Because I believe in his head, he thought that the board will sack him after the Grimsby match. I believe that in Ruben Amorim's head, he realised that he's fell well below the expectations of a big club like Man United. But to his surprise, He walked in the next day and he got the backing of the Man United board and Ineos. And he was thinking, well, what's going on here? I've just literally lost to Grimsby. We've just been knocked out of the cup. We've had a terrible start to the Premier League. And these jokers have told me that I've got 3 years to carry on doing this. And he's thinking, okay, this is not how I planned it. This is not what I thought was going to happen. But if they're going to want to carry on paying me to carry on doing the job I'm doing, then I'm just going to double down. And that's exactly what he did then. A week later, he came out in the press conference. We were all thinking, right, he's going to quit, he's going to quit, he's going to quit. There was all these rumours about him quitting. And then he sat down and he said, yeah, I've had a meeting with Jim Ratcliffe and he's told me that he's backing me. And I told him, I'm not changing my ways. I'm going to carry on playing the way I'm doing then. I'm going to carry on playing in the same system formation that I've been playing, and this is it. This is what you're going to get. And he said, yeah, you've got 3 years. You've got 3 years of doing this then. And he's thinking, well, perfect. So I think Nish made a very good point. He's probably thinking, well, in this instance, it's a win-win for me because I'm not going to change my formation, my system. And then if I do get sacked, which, you know, there is a possibility that I could be, I'll just turn around and say, well, it was a club. They never gave me the players. They never gave me the players that I asked for. And yeah, that's their problem. I asked for a midfielder. They never gave me. I asked for another striker. They never gave me it. I've heard reports that Sesko wasn't his first choice. He didn't want Sesko. He didn't want a young striker like Sesko. He wanted someone Premier League proven, but the board failed to get him that. So these are the things behind closed doors that we don't know. But he will probably, unleash them if he gets a sack. If he gets a sack, he'll go off to another club. And yeah, we've seen it with other managers. They go off and then they're like, yeah, so what? You know what I mean? We've got paid and you pick up the pieces. It says... NSP says owners aren't going anywhere. We were never clear, we never clear out the players. The most realistic option is to go get a 4-3-3 coach, play a little better with vision, buy a new midfielder, and pray. That's all about it. Yeah. Look, I agree because we were saying this yesterday. Me and Nish were discussing this, and I was saying, look. It's easier to get rid of the manager than the entire squad, right? It's an easy solution. And even Ruben Amorim knows that. And hence he said that after the Grimsby match. It's easier to get rid of me than it is to get rid of the players. This is it. We if we've got any hope of doing better than this, and let's be honest, we surely can bring in a manager who will get a better win rate than 30-something%, 34, 35%. Even the likes of Solskjaer, who had no experience, did better. Ten Hag, the guy that we all hated on, even he did better. Even he had a better win rate. I think he had 50-something% win rate compared to Amorim. And yet we look back at Ten Hag and think that was a complete and utter disastrous time. I just think we are sleeping through this catastrophe. We just simply have not woke up to it. And I finally, like, after Monday night's game, that's been the last straw that has brought the camel back. I've looked at it and realised, shit, we are in deep trouble. We're not going to change this. Unless Ruben Amorim suddenly has an epiphany and says, right, I'm going to 4-4-3, 4-3-3, and I'm gonna change everything. I don't think anything is going to change. I think we're going to keep on getting this kind of performance out of the players who are not confident playing the formation and the system, and they're going to be like, right, okay, we'll. Now, if you look back at the games and you look back at all our wins, you could argue we've been lucky then. We've fluked all these bloody games. We've won these games and we've drawn just through sheer luck. We were never ever in control of any single game. I can't look back at any game and say we were in control of that from start to finish. We were confident that we were going to win this game. Maybe, just maybe the Brighton game, I'd say that I could look at and say we were somewhat in control of that game and we looked comfortable. Yeah, obviously they scored they scored 2 goals later on near the end of the game, and we got panicked again. We were thinking, shit, we're gonna lose this lead again. Yeah. But we thankfully had enough firepower up front with Mbumo. But Mbumo has been the difference. Mbumo and Kuna have been the 2 players that have held this team and got us somewhere, because they're not part of this whole bubble. They're from the outside, and they're not fully involved or fully in touch with what's going on at United. But slowly but surely, like we say, they're going to get brought into this shithole as well. And they're going to get taken down. They're going to get dragged down with everybody else, because they're going to slowly succumb to it. Obviously, they have to follow everybody else. They can't be mavericks on their own at all times. And yeah, hopefully they can. Hopefully they can say, no, we're not playing this shit football that Ruben Amorim's saying. We're going to carry on playing the way we do, the way we know that it's been successful for us in the Premier League. Sandil says, Ineos won't buy wing backs for Amorim. They will buy number 10/wing back like Ahmad. That is why they want Semenyo. Amorim was brought to get rid of players with his system. After that, he's gone. Wow, that's an interesting take. So you feel that they've brought him in to get rid of the players, and then he's gonna go. I think he's gonna go, guys. I can't see him surviving. I just feel like they're just delaying the most obvious thing here, which is Ruben But I think you're right in some degree, Sandal, because I think what they know is that the players aren't good enough, but they need a manager to come in and just simply just screw things up. So then when they do get rid of everybody, they can just pin it on Ruben Amorim and say it was Amorim's fault. It's nothing to do with Ineos, nothing to do with us. We are sound-minded. We know exactly what we're doing. And yeah, that's I think that's what that could be the long-term plan. And he says, if I ask Sir Jim, is he going to take you 3 years to do all that? Cost cutting, make the canteen staff, etc., redundant, cutting off funds for charities, etc. He'd say, no way I can do that in 3 months. Yeah, exactly. He's done all them changes immediately. I mean, overnight. I mean, he's kicked out, he's sacked all these long-term United employees that have been working there for 20 plus years without any credit, without anything. He's just got rid of them, and then he's cut the funds to the United legends as well, which is insane, right? That's insane. I mean, our legends are not getting anything that they deserve. It's absolutely ridiculous. Talking about legends, I came across this chat. He gave us I came across this clip of Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt chatting, and it was a really interesting chat, man. It was an interesting chat where let me just bring it up for you guys. Here it is. It's Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt, and they were chatting on the good, the bad, and the football. And Scholes says, I don't know anymore. I don't know anyone at the club anymore. I don't have access to get tickets, which I'm happy to pay for. I had a lad at Salford looking to go to the United game this week, and my 4 season tickets were in use. So I had to ring a ticket tout in order to get tickets. This is Paul Scholes, one of the greatest United players. He was in my all-time 11 greatest United ever, and I think he was in everyone's greatest ever 11 United players, and this guy can't get tickets for United games. Can you believe this? Can you believe? And then Nicky Butt puts another dagger in it. He says, well, I missed 3 games this season and my season ticket, and I got an email saying they were going to cancel it. I rang the office where they asked who I was, and when I told them that I was Nicky Butt, they had no clue who I was. I simply played 450 games for them. It's crazy, isn't it, guys? It's crazy. I read that, and at first I thought it's fake. I thought, oh no, this can't be right. This must be fake or something. But then I did watch the actual clip, and that's exactly somewhat what they say. it's crazy. Who asked Nicky Butt was one of the staff members at the club. One of the staff members. Do you know what's crazy? Is that, do you know when you lose contact with your icons, the players that brought so much to the club? I think you know you're in trouble. And Ineos have deliberately done this. Ineos have come in with this agenda of cutting ties with all United ex-legends, cutting cut with Fergie. They've obviously cut his ambassadorial role at United. They've cut ties with ex-United legends, cut ties with charities, stop funding them, stop doing things like that, stop working with the community. And what do they expect? What do they expect? And I'm telling you, we do not know what's hit us with Ineos and Jim Ratcliffe. This guy is on par with the Glazers. He is on par with the Glazers. Hence why he keeps telling us. He's telling it like it is. Oh, the Glazers are lovely people. They're lovely and I get on with them. He's telling us this. He is part of the problem, guys. He is not the new solution. If he was a part of the solution, he would have bought United already. He would have bought United 100%. Why are we so gullible? Why? I know why. I'm answering. It's a rhetorical question. I know why we're gullible. I know why I'm gullible is because I'm so desperate for United to improve. I'm so desperate to get back the great days of United. I'm so desperate to see some achievement. And I'm so desperate to go back on these WhatsApp chats and grill other fans and rival fans about their team and how United have, woke up again and started playing good football and started winning things. Because we know what we've had in the past. There's some United fans who can't understand the meltdown when they see fans like me and others who completely have a meltdown about United not playing well and not doing well, and they're like, why are you kicking off? This is Man United. This is what they do. And I'm like, you've not known United like I have. You've not seen the great glory days. And when you've seen them days, then you know that, look, this is not acceptable. This is not acceptable. Anyway, coming back to the chat, Nice says, you're right, we have fluked most of our wins. NSP says, I will definitely be over the moon if we get more results, but if it feels like it's just delays the inevitable, I'm happy, but I'm not excited for the future. Yeah, that's exactly what I feel like. You've summed it up, NSP. That's exactly what I feel like. I feel like I just can't be excited for the future. I can't sit there and be like, oh, I can't wait. And do you know what? Saying that, NSP, before the Monday Night Football kicked off, as I started the stream, and I was saying that I've been looking forward to this game against Everton like I've not looked forward to many games for a long time when it comes to United. I mean, it was the first time where I've got my mojo back. And I was so excited because United were on this unbeaten run. And I was like, right, we're now facing, on paper, an easier run of games. We're going to now really achieve something that we've not done. We're going to jump into them top 4 spots. And we're going to have something to be excited about. We're going to be back watching United football. In fact, I bumped into a friend of mine who's not been watching United for years. He's a huge United fan, but he stopped watching United out of protest. He said, right, I'm not watching. He'd still sneakily watch United, but he wouldn't get into it like he used to before. Where he used to look forward to it and have a game day and get ready for it and be there analysing the game before and after. And for many years, he stopped watching United. He's just given up. He's just given up on watching shit football. And for the first time in a long time, I met him and he's back to watching football after the Liverpool game. And he's like, look, I can see, I'm watching football again. I was like, whoa, you're watching United again? He's like, yeah, I'm watching United. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm like, whoa, things are changing if this guy's watching United again. And that's what I was like come Monday night. I was thinking, yeah, I'm excited to watch United play again. And you know what? they just took all that away within 90 minutes. They just took all that excitement away. They took all that mojo that I had built up inside me, thinking, yes, United can now start cooking. Finally, I can be proud of a club. And it's just gone straight out the window within 90 minutes against Everton of all teams, right? Just ridiculous. Let's go. Niche says, that's like Wimbledon asking why George Federer, who George Federer is. Yeah, man, it's ridiculous, isn't it? In fact, one of my subscribers, he even put Nicky Butt into his top 11 as his first best 11 of all time. And I was surprised, but he was like, look, no, Nicky Butt was an underrated player, but he's still a top United player, legend. And yeah, not knowing Nicky Butt is just tells you how far we've come in cutting our ties with these players. When these players should be regulars, they should be in and around that dressing room constantly. I'm talking about Roy Keane, Rio Ferdinand, David Beckham, Scholes, Nicky Butt, Gary Neville, everybody. All these, the class of 99 and 95 and more, all of them should be there. All of them. All of these players that have gone and won the Champions Leagues and been there and seen there and done the Premier League time and time again, they should be in and around the club constantly, reminding the players what club they're playing for. That is the kind of pressure I want the players to be under constantly. And Nish says it's like walking into Napoli pizza parlor and them not knowing who Maradona is. Yeah, exactly, man. It is crazy, isn't it? When I heard that, I was like, no way did that happen, man. That's crazy. NSP, I have an interesting question. Would we be in this position if only Glazers owned us? Would last season have happened? Hate them as well, though. That is a very interesting question. That is a crazy question, actually. A good question. Would we be in the same position if the Glazers were here? I think, do you know what? We might not be. We might not be. I think, number one, I don't think we would have had Amrin here. But no way. No way would we would have gone for a more conventional manager, someone who's probably been around. I think maybe someone like even Zidane might have turned up. You know, them are the kind of signings that we'd get under the Glazers, right? In terms of the signing and the players, again, you know, we wouldn't have signed the players that we've signed under Ineos. So I think, yeah, I agree with you. I know where you're coming from. I don't think things would have been this way if we had the Glazers in charge, because I think the pressure on the Glazers would have been immense. I think a lot of fans have not got on the back of Jim Ratcliffe, number one, because he's a local guy, and he obviously has come out and done his talking, and he's given a few interviews and things like that, and he's kind of said it already out aloud, the thing that we don't want to hear, which is, oh, it's going to take a long time, and fans expect everything to work out within a day or two, but that's not how football works, and all that rubbish that he comes out with. And yet, you're right, he was very quick to cut the lunch money and cut the legends away and cut Sir Alex Ferguson out of the club and everything else. But yet, you know, things like sorting things out on the pitch are going to take a lot longer. No, they don't take that long. No one's silly. We all see it in other clubs. They have one blip season and then they're back at it the next season because they get the right players in, they get the right manager in, they play the right system and formation and whatever, and they get shit sorted. Whereas we, as a club, do not do that. We've not done that. And we're accepting this gaslighting from Jim Ratcliffe himself, and the fans are not on his back. And I think, yeah, if the Glazers were in charge, I think there would have been protests left, right and centre. I think they would have found it very difficult not to, number one, go out there and sign players. But it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because they wouldn't have spent their own money. They would have spent the club's money. They probably would have put us in further debt as well. Not that Ineos haven't put us in further debt. Ineos will and are looking at putting United into further debt. Do not get this confused. The new stadium, if and when it's built, will be built with debt. It will not be built by investment. Ineos nor the Glazers are going to put any money down to build the new stadium. Mark my words. I'll be shocked if Ineos turn around and say we're putting down £1 billion and we're going to get the rest in funds or whatever to build a new stadium, I think the majority of the cost of building a new stadium will be funded through loans, which are going to have further interest on them. So United are just going to go from bad to worse. That's my issue. That is my issue, guys, and I can see it. I can see it happening, and it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare because Jim Ratcliffe came in like the knight in shining armor, but all he really was going to come and stab everyone else behind their back and just join in with the Glazers. That's what he's done. Nish says, NSP said Jim said if he didn't buy into the club, he was going to run out of. They were going to run out of money. I don't believe that for a moment. It was going to run out of money. I don't believe that. I think that's true. I think the club was going to run out of money. The Glazers were up in shit. They were up in Shit's Creek. They knew they didn't have any money, and this guy who's said to be a top businessman, rather than looking at the Glazers and thinking, right, I can leverage this because they're a distressed seller at the moment, I can come in and I can make an offer and buy the entirety of the club off them and get it at a decent price. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to give them that lifeline and keep them at the club. Which true United fan would ever do that? Which true United fan would come in and look at the Glazers and say, you've done a fantastic job at your Man United? There is no Man United fan that I know of that will turn around and say, if I have this many billions of pounds and I could buy Man United and I have spare money to go and buy United, that I'd keep the Glazers at the club. No, nobody would do that, bar Jim Ratcliffe. So that's where I do not trust Jim Ratcliffe at one bit. You know, I give him credit for certain things. I like the fact that they've brought in like Omar Brada and Jason Wilcox, and they've brought in the right people behind the scenes to sort things out in terms of footballing things. So I say, yeah, that's good. But also, I'm not happy with the way they're trying to commercialize the club as well. They're not doing anything different from the Glazers. NSP says, Nish, I don't believe that either. He just wants to create an image of himself as a saviour. Yes, exactly right, as I've just said. Nish says, yeah, exactly. We've got the tightest billionaire in football. Bullseye. We have got the tightest billionaires in football, man. We are shafted. And I said it. Even before, when there was takeover talks about Ineos or whether it was somebody else like Sheikh Yassim or something, and there was talk about who's going to... And I was like, well, look, number one, we've got one buyer who's saying that he's going to come in and he's going to clear the entirety of the debt, the £2 billion of debt that United are under, or 1 point something, I think, I can't remember now. It's significant. It's 1.2 or 3 billion pounds of debt that he's going to clear, and then put in the rest into infrastructure. So about £2 billion he was going to invest. And then we've got the other owner who's not mentioning anything about the debt, not mentioning anything about clearing anything. And he's coming in and he's telling us, oh, do you know what? Yeah, I'm a Man United fan. I'm a Man United fan. You've got to pick me. I'm a Man United fan. And I like the Glazers. I'm a Man United fan who was going to buy Chelsea just 3 months ago. I'm a Man United fan, though. Trust me. I'm a through and through Man United local boy. I'm a local boy. I support Man United. I was going to buy Chelsea 3 months ago. That fell through, but ignore that. Ignore that part. Ignore the fact that I was going to buy Chelsea. But right now, I'm a United fan. And I love the Glazers, by the way. I think they're brilliant. I think they're really nice people. You've got to get to know them. You've got to get to know them. You know, oh, yeah, they've put us in a debt of 1.5 billion pounds. But I'm going to go and cut lunch money. The 20 grand a month or whatever it is that's been spent on lunch, and another 20 grand that's been put into the fund of ex-United players to help them out in hard times. I'm going to cut that. But I'll leave the interest that's been paid of about maybe 40-50 million pound a year on the debt that the Glazers have accrued. Because they're nice people, the Glazers. They're nice people. You don't understand. That's what we've got in Jim Ratcliffe, guys. Sandil says, if Amrin can play Mbumo as a 9, Ahmad as a 10, Kuna as a 10, Dogu right wing back, and Shaw left wing back, and start Sesko on the bench. Sesko too slow, taking too long. Yeah, look, I think that could work. That could work if he changes things up. But we've heard. I know you're a big fan of Sandal. I know you're a big fan of Shaw playing in left wing back, and so am I. In fact, I called it, and I said that once Leach is back, he's going to move Shaw into that left wing back position. It's the most obvious thing to do. It's the most obvious thing to do if you watch United play, and he still insists on playing this formation. But guess what? He came out and completely got rid of that whole idea. He said, no way can Luke Shaw play left wing back. He goes, he's not capable, or something like that. He said in the press conference. I had to watch it twice. I was like, what? What are you saying? He can't. He's like, oh no, Luke Shaw's not capable of playing in that, and we've got Dalot and Dogu playing in them positions, so we don't need Luke Shaw to play in that position. So if Leacher comes back, Luke Shaw gets dropped to the bench. That's what's going to happen. And I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a big fan of that. I think, Dogu's good. He's not brilliant. And Dalot, he should have been sold in the summer. Nish says the Saudis have effectively spent $3.5 billion on boxing. They could have paid for our new stadium plus much more. Well, do you know when the takeover news broke about a month ago, about maybe some consortium investment group from Dubai possibly looking to buy United? That's gone completely dead. Nothing's come of that. But I was speaking then. I was saying how the Saudis bought EA Sports, the game that makes EA FC, the football game, and they make a few other sport games. They bought that manufacturing group or gaming company for £57 billion. £57 billion they bought that company for. A gaming company. They've got money. And United, in their best time, are worth what, 7 billion, 6 billion? Call it 8 billion. 8 billion for United. Yet they've gone and spent £57 billion buying a gaming company. Yeah, okay, look, in the long run, economically, if you're looking at it, yeah, that's a great investment because, of course, that gaming group, EA, is making billions of pounds each year anyway. So they're making a lot of money in profit every year. So, it makes sense to buy something like that. Whereas United, we know, football isn't the best investment you can make as a business owner. But 7 billion and then another 2 billion on top just to sort things out at United. Why not? They can do it. It's just, I think behind closed doors, they know that the Glazers will not let go. So I think in the circles of billionaires, and when they're looking at buying United or other clubs, they know which owners are willing to sell and which are not. So I think they know the Glazers are not going to let go. I think a lot of people have tried. Maybe there's talks that where these talks about the Dubai investment group coming in to buy United. I think they started. I think they might have even gone to the Glazers and approached them, and the Glazers might have turned around and said, piss off, we're not selling, we're staying, and that's it. We are stuck with the Glazers. There was that one moment where we could have got the Glazers out, but Jim Ratcliffe came in and gave them a lifeline. Remember that, guys. He came in and he gave them a lifeline. Absolutely crazy stuff, but that is exactly what happened. What is it? Here you go. The Saudis are effectively spent 3.5, and he says 57 billion, unreal. Yeah, this is it, man. This is crazy, but Elon Musk could buy us. Imagine the stadium he'll build us. It would be the best stadium ever. Yeah, Elon Musk again. I think he's all these business guys. They know that, number one, they look for things that they can make their money back on as well. So I think he once he did put out a tweet saying, "Oh, if I'd buy a club, I'd buy United." but he quickly backtracked and said, look, no, I'm never going to buy a football club, and I'm not into sport and things like that. So I can't see him buying a club like that, and if he does, I think he'd buy something out in the States now anyway. It's just, certain people who the Glazers had a business model knowing exactly how to milk a sporting club. They did that with the Buccaneers out in the States, and they knew, right, okay, we can do that same, we can apply the same model to United. We can buy the club with complete debt without leveraging it on ourselves, just put it straight on the club. The club will then pay the interest, and we will take dividends out of the club in profits or whatever it is, and we're laughing every year. And that's exactly what they've done to the Buccaneers, and they've done that to United. It's only recently where they've actually stumbled into problems because United haven't been winning things. So United have been still making lots of revenue, but they've not been winning consistently, and that has affected the money that they can the Glazers can draw out of United. That's what's happened, and this is why currently United, they want United to qualify for the Champions League, because yes, that's where they make the money. Hence why they wanted to get United into the Super League, which doesn't need qualification. It just, you get a set of teams that are part of that group and part of that competition, no matter what. They're always playing in the Super League, and that's what they wanted. They wanted that automatic qualification each year, and then they would get a pot of money that they can all separate between each other and make a killing. That's what their grand idea was. A bit similar to what happens out in the States. They wanted the similar thing to happen with football, but thank God that didn't happen. NSP says, we need the Bundesliga rule where the fans own half the club. Oh, I'd love that. That is my ideal situation. I'd love for United to be owned by the fans. That would be amazing. If we as fans could buy shares in the club, well, we technically can, but you know what I mean. There's no point in buying shares when the Glazers own them, right? Own the club. But if we could buy, even half the club and have the say and dictate what happens, that would be really, really good. And I bet you that would see the end of the Glazers. They would be out of here like a shot. Me too. I'd love the fans to own 51%. Yeah, that would be amazing, guys. It would be amazing. That's when you really can say that you're part of the club and you can really have your say. But again, I can't see that happening. In the Premier League, I can't see that happening. I think, the billionaire owners across the Premier League like the status quo. They like the way things are running, and they're going to keep it as it is. I can't see that changing. But anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully, I'll be back later on tonight, because I'm doing the live stream for the watch along against Arsenal against Bayern Munich, Arsenal against Bayern Munich. I think they're playing at the Arsenal Stadium, Emirates Stadium, and that is going to be a top game. So if you can join me for that, do come along, because it's going to be a good game, because of course Arsenal are unbeaten in the Champions League, and so are Bayern Munich. So it's the top two that are going to come face to face, and it's going to, something's got to give, right? Someone's got to win. I'm hoping it's obviously Bayern Munich and not Arsenal, but it could be Arsenal. You never know. These Premier League clubs right now, we saw Chelsea demolish, quite comfortably. Even before the sending off of Araujo, they were comfortable. Chelsea looked like the team that was going to win, and it was that the sending off just speeded up the whole process, and Chelsea won convincingly against Barcelona. So I'm expecting a good game tonight. But look, Bayern Munich have been playing some really good football. Harry Kane, can he come back and get some revenge for Spurs against Arsenal tonight? That's what the big headline would be if he scores. But anyway, guys, I'll see you later. Hopefully you can join me. Thanks. Take care. Thank you for everybody that's commented. NSP, thank you for joining. Make sure you hit the subscribe so you can join us again in future streams. And of course, Nish and everybody else, Sandil, Jim, everybody that's joined in, thank you very much.